one thing you wish more people knew about with regards to maintenance and reliability? What's one common thing that you think people often overlook with regards to maintenance and reliability?
Yeah, I would say, there's this aspect of like reliability engineering that, sometimes, like the predictive maintenance, like, hey, that stuff sounds like super sexy. And if we add all these sensors, it's going to make our lives a lot better. But we have to first understand, like, where do we have the opportunity to like do like preventative maintenance optimization? Like where do we start to like look at like how do we eliminate the defects? How do we start to like look at more like reliability centered design and looking at like what are like the failure modes telling us from like our work order history? The more that we can start to spend time on the data of what we currently do, then that's when we should make the decisions on how we start to incorporate, like the cool stuff that you see like with Industry 4.0, like, IoT and all of these sensors. And I'm not trying to downplay that one bit, but I think there's an opportunity to really make sure that you understand, like, where are you at in your reliability engineering program? And if you don't have one, how do you even dedicate one person's time to just start focusing on that? And really eliminating like what I call like those bad actors, and not the ones that we saw on the Oscar show yesterday, but more of the the equipment that's really kicking our butt, the one that's eating our lunch. So I think that's a big opportunity. And then the only other thing that I would say, Ryan, is what I mentioned earlier, just around like understanding like your foundational assets and ensuring that you understand which ones are the most critical, so then we can focus on all those other sexy things.
Completely agree. I think people get tied to these shiny objects saying like, hey, these are the cool new things that are coming out. But when we look at ourselves and the maturity of the company and the maturity of our processes, we realize like we got to crawl before we walk. We got to crawl before we walk. We got to walk before we run.
Yeah, and I would say like, it's really it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So, some of these things, they take time to really establish and put in place. And so, when you start putting this in front of like your CEOs and like your leaders, you might not see that payback like within 6 months. These things, like sometimes take time to set in place, but the fruits of the labor will certainly pay off.